And a familiar opponent. Some of the post-match studio analysis, I thought an interesting observation is that New Zealand are good at running around defenders, where South Africans are good at running through them. So two very different, contrasting styles of rugby. The Springboks are a very different beast for the All Blacks. So yeah, we'll obviously preview that game later in the week. But on the injury front, Rob, do you?
Yeah, South Africa have got a couple of issues. The most worrying one is probably at lock, where both their sort of first choice number fives, Loot de Jager, picked up an injury during the match and then played on. He was obviously determined to, you couldn't blame him for wanting to stay out there, knowing that the Springboks were within a whisker of sort of flying home the day after that quarterfinal if they weren't going to get over the line. And Loot de Jager has been a very vital component of the Springbok game plan over the last few weeks. He's been one young gun who's really stuck his hand up. Some people have already been saying he's an early candidate for sort of player of the tournament. The Welsh did police him quite well. They tried to knock him back as much as possible. They put 3 men onto him to stop his kind of constant surges. So they didn't make it easy for him. But full credit to him, he stuck it out. However, he is nursing a bit of an injury, and there is the possibility that the Boks are going to sort of do a bracketing job at number 5 when they name their team on Wednesday. Because Victor Matfield, of course, who seems just such a logical guy with his 125 caps to come in for a pressure cooker semi-final if necessary. Still a little bit of doubt about that hamstring. Yeah. Is he fully ready? A 38-year-old with a hamstring injury, not the ideal state of affairs. That could always come back to revisit him. And maybe we're going to see someone like Pieter-Steph du Toit suddenly have to step into the breach. Not having had much rugby, sadly, at this World Cup, especially in his specialist position. So that's a little bit of a concern for the Boks. Also, this thought that Willie Leroux is a bit out of form, may still be carrying an ankle injury, which is also a bit concerning. When you look at the sort of explosiveness of that New Zealand back three, we need all of our own back three to be absolutely fit and firing. We know that Brian Habana and JP Peterson looking very good, but Willie Leroux didn't have a good game against Wales, and there may just be the suggestion, fitness concerns or not, that maybe he should make way for someone like Pat Lambie. I hope it will be Pat Lambie. I've seen some rumours that maybe Zane Kirshner is being primed for a possible role in the game, which would not do a lot to improve Springbok X factor. I think Pat Lambie should be, by rights, the next in line to take that fullback slot. He's done it before. He played fullback at the World Cup in 2011 and pretty well. So and he's also an extra place kicker. So if Andre Pollard is a little bit off with his place kicking, as happened at times in the Welsh game, maybe having Lambie as a backup place kicker isn't the worst state of affairs either. But I'm not even sure they'll drop Willie Leroux because of that sort of the game-breaking qualities he does have. You do expect him to be a little bit flaky from time to time.
And speaking of the New Zealand back three, Monascada went off the field injured, which might be fortuitous. Does he look like he's going to feature in the? Yeah,
he was nursing a shoulder, wasn't he? It looked as though he'd got an ice pack on the shoulder. Seemed to be walking a little bit better. I noticed at the sort of at the tumult and congratulations at the final whistle after they put 62 points on them. He was still very much thereabouts. So you sort of think maybe it's just a knock, and perhaps he'll make it. But New Zealand are not short of.
Good.
Yeah, they're not short of back three options.
Exactly.
Their back line in general is marvellous. When you have someone like Sonny Bill Williams to infuse off a bench, it's quite a scary prospect, So interesting to wait and see what happens there. But Julian Savia, of course, was Lomu revisited on Saturday, just far too hot for the French to handle, and he just he went round the side a few times, but he also sometimes just steamrolled. Yeah, absolutely. The way 15 Boks sometimes try to do.
Yeah.